Another thing about Germany that most people wouldn't understand. Germany also, every time we produced a weapon, we also thought about how exactly it could be overcome, or in what way would it affect us if it was used. We always thought about, how about if the guns are turned on us? What do we do then? Because we were manufacturing these weapons. So like me, I thought, well, what if they use it on individual other people or myself or my people? I was more worried about my people than myself, but mostly, basically, I'm releasing weapons to the world. I'm starting this manufacturing process of these very dangerous weapons, which I was fine manufacturing and producing and having research done on them. But I always thought about what happens if they're used on my own people. So, like I said, and I even paid for a report on the we did analysis of the whole country of Germany, how somebody could overcome us, what we could do to counter that, and all that other stuff. Like I said, I started thinking of all of Germany as basically one big base. So basically, a lot of manufacturing was moved underground. That way, that would eliminate bombing and also thieving, because a lot of times my buildings were broken into. And like I said to one time, well, if no one knows it's there, then they can't break into it. So we moved the manufacturing, or at least the prototype manufacturing, underground. That's why people would be like, wait a minute, there's buildings underneath here. It's like, I mean, I was a mining person. We mined. What's over here? Oh, what's in that mountain? Bog. Eee. Bloop. I need a bigger pump. What about the world's second biggest pump? It's like, bloop. The first world's biggest pump isn't working, so we're going to need a second world's biggest pump. Like one time they built and manufactured and brought 4 world's biggest pumps, and it finally was draining the water. And I was like, okay, I need one that big. So they built one that big and put it there. And then we just used the 4 as backups. And later on we needed them anyway, so for something else. But yeah. So anyway, so we moved. I was already underground. I was happily digging under there. Basically, one of the biggest things is there'd be a mountain. I'd be like, ooh, let's find out what's under it. Let's go mining into it. Let's see how deep we can mine. I was always like that. So so a lot of the manufacturing complexes, a lot of the buildings, like we had hit a coal seam or like an iron seam, and they would just mine out this big area. And it's like, okay, let's structurally reinforce it and let's make it into a base and manufacturing plant. So a lot of our manufacturing plants were actually inside the mountains themselves. So, no one would know it except for a road. And supplies would come in and usually be underground. Like I said, sometimes we'd dig into this mountain, go down, go across the valley, and back up into our manufacturing plant. And then so people would be like, well, we know it's in that mountain, so we have to bomb and raid that mountain. And they would get in there, where is it? There's nothing but empty Oh, there. Oh, there's a few cases. I guess it's not that big. Okay, let's go. And what they didn't know is basically great big wall and big door, and hey, they're gone. And that kind of thing. Like we would have entrances over here, and then down, and then back up, and then under, and then back up. Basically, everything that America was doing, Germany was doing long before. They're like the granddaddy America. So, like I say, when Trumpy tries to take over, like I say, JFK went to the Pentagon every day for at least 5 years, trying to figure out the security, trying to figure out what was going on. Because the public could access the Pentagon before, but you wouldn't really be able to figure out much about the from the files of the Pentagon. There was a hidden vault behind the shelves. There's these rows of filing cabinets, and basically, if you knew about them, you'd have to jackhammer the wall, and you'd be like, "There's files back here." It's like, yeah, there's a hidden row of filing cabinets that nobody knew was there. A whole room, a couple of them actually, and there's also a mine underneath the Pentagon. Anyway, it's been there a very, 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 very long time, but you would have to be 150 or 250 years old to know that. And nobody was. Anyway, basically, JFK was not president. Like they did these stupid films and released them to the public, saying, showing them and showing, and even Nixon in the White House, and even the other people, like they have these slides of like, what's it called, President Roosevelt. It's like he was never in the White House, and the White House wasn't even the White House back then. It used to be a steam, what's it called, a steam generator. Anyway, so like their lies were just so ridiculous that it's like, you're crazy. What was considered a White House was basically a house that was white, and there was a lot of White Houses. My White House, which was a deep underground mine, I think copper or something, that wasn't around until at least 18 or 1900 or 1917, 20, because I wanted to have my house ready. And I rented it out with a train. And even then, they didn't know about the secret rooms until way later. Anyway, yeah. So they're just crazy. Anyway, and JFK or JFK or somebody basically rented the White House with the train and was using it. I was like, well, I'm not using it right now, so oh well. He had a white train with it, and then he was running around going, vote Republican, vote whatever. And I was like, oh, you're just renting the train. Put it back. That's it. I'm not renting you anymore. And then the Republicans' check bounced. They had no money in their accounts. They were kiting their accounts. So basically, the Republicans were broke. Have always been broke. So are the Democrats. They're just lying and taking people's donations. And basically scams, pretty much. They've basically been taking bribes and taking scams, and basically it's all a lie. It's always been a lie. So it's just that they were killing people, and then they were trying to get access to the first thing that Nixon wanted was access to the banking institutions, and he was trying to use the government actually he was lobbying on the side of the people. Like I say, Nixon. There's Dr. Nixon. There's PhD Dr. Nixon. There's scientist Nixon. There's he was lobbying, like JFK and Nixon were lobbying on the side of the people. They were never president. They never had anything to do with the government. They only had public access. That was it. It's all a lie. It's always been a lie. They just had, and the White House had a TV or whatever. I mean, actually, I think they did a lot of stuff. I put some stuff in there for me, and then they stole it and put it in there. I don't know. Anyway, they were crazy. They were raping women inside the White House. They killed everybody at the White House. Then they replaced them with some fake guards that they paid. They were family members. It was one family that was going around pretending to be the Secret Service. The real Secret Service was the SS, and German.